Well, hello, my good faithful YouTube viewers and listeners. It is the Jer Bear. Today's date is Tuesday, September 13th, 2022. Thank you so much for stopping by and indulging me for a little while. I was in the Upper Peninsula this past weekend, and I had a wonderful time hanging out with friends and enjoying some delicious food and sightseeing. It was just a wonderful time, and I had one of the best weekends I've had in quite some time. And the noise you probably hear in the background, I don't know if the mic is picking it up, but my dad's actually mowing the grass, so you're going to hear the lawnmower on occasion. But that's not what I'm here to talk about today. I know it's been a while since I've recorded a Daily Rant recording. But I did take this week off, of course, from doing the Sunday video because I wasn't here. I was actually headed back home, as a matter of fact, when I was done in the Upper Peninsula, so I wasn't going to be back in time for the Sunday video. This week there will be a new live Sunday video update, so make sure you tune in for that. Of course, lots to talk about, and I'll divulge more into my vacation in the Upper Peninsula in the Sunday video update. So in today's Daily Rant, I'm going to rehash and reiterate an issue that I had run into before, but it's recently happened again. And so I'm going to, get right to the meat and potatoes of this, because there's a lot of information that I'm going to share with you, and there's some key notes that you have to remember. There's some key things you have to, keep it in mind. Just keep it in mind. That's all I'm saying. Keep it in mind. So, there is a young lady who is a childhood cancer survivor. Okay, she's 11 years old. I recognized who she was. I was friends with her when I had my old Facebook account from years ago, and I was friends with her grandmother and her at the same time, simultaneously. So we were both deep into the childhood cancer advocacy situation, and I was really heavy and passionate about that. I was really full-blown gold ribbon. So something had happened just recently, and I found this young lady who was a childhood cancer survivor. I'm not going to mention her name because she's a minor. And all I did was I reached out and I said, "Hello, my name is Jared. I'm a childhood cancer survivor of 33 years. I had Wilms tumor when I was 2 years old, and I left it at that. I didn't continue on any further." Well, as it turns out, I ended up getting blocked from that particular account. This person that I have known for quite some time. I've known her story. I don't know her personally, but I'm very well aware of her story. And I'm currently friends with her grandmother on Facebook. I'm not going to say her name either. At least, not yet anyway. And I messaged her and I said, "Well, what's going on?" I said, all I did was I just said who I am. I'm a childhood cancer survivor, and, I had cancer when I was 2 years old. That's all I said, or something to that effect anyway. It wasn't anything bad or inappropriate. And the grandmother messages me back, and she says, "Well, I don't appreciate grown men messaging my daughter," or my granddaughter, I should say. "I don't appreciate grown men messaging my granddaughter." And I said, "Well, I didn't say anything that was inappropriate or out of line. And, I'm just curious as to why I was blocked." And so it had come out that she said, "I manage my granddaughter's social media." Okay, fine. I didn't say anything inappropriate, but if, you manage your granddaughter's social media, fine. I don't have a problem with that. And then the conversation had carried on, and she says, "Well, I just don't feel safe with grown men messaging my granddaughter." And that's when I kind of came back at her with some logic. I backhanded her with logic and critical thinking, and she had a shit fit about it. And I said, "Well, you can't have it both ways, because," and this is the part where I need you guys to really take this into consideration. Don't look at this as just, some random guy messaging a kid. Well, I didn't message a kid directly, because by the admission of the grandmother, she manages her granddaughter's Facebook account. So I did not message her granddaughter. I messaged her, the grandmother. That's point number one. And number two, if I did in fact directly message her granddaughter, that fault lands at the feet of the kid's parent or legal guardian because they have failed to keep her safe on the internet. For whatever potential danger comes from me saying that I'm a childhood cancer survivor, I have really no idea. I am totally fucking clueless to that, but she was really butthurt and bent out of shape because I backed her into a corner with logic and critical thinking. It pissed her off. She says, well, I'm not going to argue with you. Well, of course you're not going to argue with me, honey. Whenever you lose an argument, that's usually when you're going to stop arguing, and that's when you're going to throw in the towel and say, hey, I'm not going to argue with you anymore. That is a clear indication that she has not given this much of any thought at all. She has not analyzed this situation to the point where, okay, maybe Jared is right about this. There's no real danger. He didn't say anything inappropriate to my granddaughter. He didn't say anything that was out of line or, creepy to my granddaughter. He just said that he was a childhood cancer survivor. What's the big deal in that? Where's the harm? Where's the threat? She didn't analyze this very well. And I can tell, and it shows big time. So I did not directly message her granddaughter. And by her own admission, because she said that she manages her granddaughter's Facebook account. Okay. So then I didn't message your granddaughter. I messaged you. Period. If you saw what I had written, then you automatically know that there was nothing nefarious that was being said. There's no ill will, nothing to that effect at all whatsoever. And there never is. And another note to take from this, as I've already pointed out, that if I did in fact speak directly to an 11-year-old, then where the fuck are the parents? Because that fault lands at the feet of the kid's parent or legal guardian. You don't get to turn this around on me by saying, oh, you're just a guy who messages kids willy-nilly. Well, that's not the case at all. That's not the case at all. I know that she's a childhood cancer survivor, as myself, and I was just trying to reach out and be friendly. There's nothing, perverted or sexual of that nature going on. It's just really obnoxiously absurd to me that I circle right back around to the same problem. Which, if anybody really and truly listens to what I'm saying, they might understand what I'm trying to explain. There is no danger. Now, I understand you do get people on the internet who love to scour the internet for kids, and they say really derogatory, disgusting things, to which case you would file a police report. You would actually get the names of these people, file a police report, turn them into the authorities and such. Okay, that's justified. If they're being inappropriate, if they're saying something that is suggestive or, explicit, whatever the case may be. But then there's the overall bigger picture, which is why the fuck do parents who are supposed to be there in the event of a worst case scenario, why the fuck do the parents allow their children to swim in waters containing sharks? Knowing the dangers and the risk of being on the internet. Why the fuck are you letting your kids on the internet to begin with? And I'm not saying this because, I said something or did something wrong. I didn't say or do anything wrong. The point is, if we know this, and we've known this for any number of years, and they talk about this all the time on the news, so why the fuck are you allowing your kids, underage kids, on the internet if it's really that big of a deal to you? This is the one thing that really irritates me. It's like you're going to an adult club, where there's swearing and nudity and drinking and smoking and all that, the grown-up stuff. But you're going to create a fake pass for your children, minor children, to gain access to. Why is that our fault? Why is it the fault of the adult when an underage person comes into an area where the dangers loom? Why is that? Why am I being involuntarily deputized to keep your kids safe? If there is actually a real threat or danger going on with me just simply saying hello, or I'm a childhood cancer survivor and I recognize that you are as well, and I was, 2 years old when I was fighting cancer. If there's a great suspicion about that going on, then my advice to you is to take your kids off the motherfucking internet. Because there's no real threat with me saying that I'm a child of cancer survivor. You get a lot of these uptight, overstressed, snobby-ass parents, and grandparents in this occasion. They don't apply logic and critical thinking. They think the world revolves around them because they had kids, because they spewed forth a human being from their juicy fucking loins, and we're all supposed to involuntarily be deputized to make sure that their kids live in a safe, worry-free world. Well, my own parents couldn't save me from living in that kind of world. We all collectively share in that kind of a world. And the internet is no exception. The internet exists in reality. And the reality is that when I reach out and say, hey, I'm a child of cancer survivor, that's not me inadvertently saying something inappropriate or suggestive or disgusting or even anything that is even remotely explicit. I don't speak disgustingly to children, never have, never will. So why would I want to start now? Why would I do that? That's not who I am. And it's really sad that I have to constantly, over and over again, reiterate and repeat the same nonsense because people just don't understand the logic behind this. If you are an adult managing your minor kids' internet, social media, whatever, internet usage, then it's you. It's not your kid. It's you. And if I am directly speaking to your kid and that makes you feel gaudy or whatever it is you feel, you don't then get to shift the blame on me for your inability to parent your children. And that's just the way that is. You don't get to turn the tables on me because of something that you failed to do as the kid's parent. If it's really that big of a deal to you, then take your kids off the goddamn internet. And I just had this conversation with a friend of mine today. I was actually out shopping, and they messaged me, and I told her what was going on. And her son is a child of cancer survivor, and we were having that conversation. And I said, well, it doesn't make any sense to me that if someone is managing your underage kid's account, and if I reach out and say hello, I'm not speaking to that kid. I'm speaking to the person who manages the account, which is an adult. There's no threat or danger. It's people who want to believe what they want to believe. They want to throw some dirty, disgusting, tone or oversight into this when nothing bad or dreadful has happened. I don't understand it. It's like when I write letters to a lot of the cancer warriors, the parents are very, very well aware. They would have to be. They're the ones who supplied the fucking mailing addresses. Of course they're aware that I'm going to be writing to their kids, writing letters to their cancer warriors, boys and girls. They're cancer warriors and survivors. They get letters from OJ Bear here. There's no ill will or nefarious intentions. There's nothing of that kind going on at all. And they know this. Because the parents, prior to giving the letters to their kids, they will open the letters and they will read the letters and then they will pass it on. Or there are even most cases where, because the parents trust me enough that I would never say anything inappropriate or disgusting or explicit to their kids, they will just simply hand the letter over to them and say, well, here, because we know it's Jared, he's never going to say anything inappropriate. Not in a letter to a kid. He's never done that. He's never demonstrated this to us, so we don't see any real threat or danger. And that's what you call earning someone's trust and respect. More so trust than respect, but I don't say anything negative or disgusting to a kid, ever. And the same logic applies to Facebook. Now, I didn't know that the young girl's grandmother managed her account. Now, see, I'm currently friends with the grandmother, so after this, that might change. But, who fucking cares? I didn't know that it was her grandmother who managed the little girl's account. And, if we can play devil's advocate here for a minute, let's say that I was actually speaking directly to that little girl. I wouldn't have said anything differently than I would have had I known that the grandmother was managing that account. I wouldn't have said anything different. I mean, the fact of the matter is that I did not know that her grandmother manages her account, and she saw what I had written, which is proof positive that I wouldn't say anything inappropriate. But she got really super fucking pissed at me today because I backed her into a corner with logic and critical thinking, which is what most people lack these days, and it's a very sad fucking world we live in. It's a very sad world we live in. I'm still trying to figure this out. I'm still trying to get to the bottom of why people get so agitated and just why they are the way they are. I don't get it. Until there's an actual threat, until such time as there's an actual threat that can be identified, then what the fuck is your problem? If you don't want people talking to your underage kids, then maybe perhaps they shouldn't be on the internet. Or if you are managing their account, underage account, then maybe you shouldn't be so offended by the idea that someone is actually being civil and kind with you, knowing that they, when I approach anybody, adult or child, I'm always respectable. I'm approachable, I'm respectable, I'm kind, courteous, loving, caring, all those things. Until such time as I'm given a reason not to be, and then the actual bear in Jer Bear comes the fuck out. But in this case, I'm just not going to tolerate bullshit. I'm just not going to deal with it. I do everything in my power to be nice to people, and this grandmother really has her head up her fucking ass because she thinks that I was, I don't know. She's like, well, I just don't feel comfortable with grown men, messaging my 11-year-old granddaughter. Well, I wasn't messaging your 11-year-old granddaughter by your own admission. After you just said you manage your granddaughter's account, I was messaging you. I wasn't talking directly to your granddaughter. You fucking idiot. But this is the result of a world where people are constantly scared. They're fearful. They think everybody has an agenda or everybody's out to get them in some way. This is really stupid. This is really stupid. And I can't think of any other way to describe this other than just stupidity. I like to live in a world where I can be kind to people and people can trust me. And as long as they know that I'm never up to no good, I'm only trying to help people. I reach out to people because, hey, I care. I genuinely give a fuck about what's true. And I'm not trying to stir up trouble or cause problems. Most of the people that I've had run-ins with before have caused trouble with me. And I have fun with them. And they know that I have fun with them because of the fact that I just talk about them here. And I call them out by name. And I tell them how stupid they are. I don't enjoy it. But, sometimes it's got to be done. If you're going to accuse me of doing something or, looking at me in a bad light, I'm going to embarrass you publicly. And that's it. So I don't know what this grandmother's trip is. I can't tell you. I'm not a mind reader. But, she admitted that she manages her granddaughter's account. And I told her, I said, well, even if I didn't know that, which I didn't at the time, I actually had no idea. And I still approached this with being respectful and kind and not saying anything out of line or, disgusting or anything like that. She didn't even consider that. She says, well, I know you didn't say anything inappropriate, but I just don't like grown men messaging my 11-year-old granddaughter. Well, get her off the fucking internet then. It's not my problem, it's yours. Well, she's got Facebook on her phone. She can see the messages. And so fucking what? I didn't say anything that was inappropriate. And why is your kid directly on the internet anyway? Why should your underage granddaughter have unsupervised access to the internet? Oh, because I trust my kids. Are you fucking kidding me? You as the adult, like I said, you're supposed to be there to prevent the worst case scenario from happening. If you can't even do that, then you have failed. That fault will land at the feet of the parent or legal guardian. I mean, how stupid is that? And then they try to turn it around on me. Well, sorry, it's not going to work. It's not happening. Nothing happened here today. And nothing happened, nothing bad happened other than a grandmother got called out for being a dimwit. That's it. I like to think that we can move beyond this and move past the stupidity. I like to think that we can move beyond, I don't know, people living in fear and being scared all the time. It's not any way I'd want to live, and it's not how I'm going to live. I mean, yeah, I'm skeptical about a lot of things, and I'm always minding my P's and Q's and keeping my nose clean. And, if there's someone I don't know trying to scam me or whatever, I'm always very alert to that. I'm very receptive to things like that, and I don't let people take advantage of me. But at the same time, I'm nice to everybody until I'm given a reason not to be nice. And this grandmother, for some reason, I don't know. She doesn't recognize her own hypocrisy. She can't recognize it enough to identify it. And I've identified it for her, and she blew a fucking gasket by saying, "Well, I'm not gonna argue with you." Well, that's usually what people say when they lose an argument. So now you're forfeiting. Well, congratulations. I win again. But it's really not about winning and losing. It's trying to get people to understand and recognize their own hypocrisy. If something is seriously going wrong, then you take action. If something is really going wrong, well, nothing went wrong at all. Nothing. Nothing that I can see. I mean, I have a screenshot of the message that I sent to her granddaughter saying that, hey, I'm just, a child of cancer survivor. I even sent it to the person I was speaking to today because her son is a Wilms tumor survivor. She'll hear this, she'll listen to this, and she'll know I'm talking about her. Hello. But yeah, she knows. She saw the message. And that's all there was before I was blocked. Because the grandmother blocked me on Facebook through her granddaughter's Facebook account, which is, okay, whatever. But it's the snide, smug arrogance that I'm sick and tired of it. No one can have an honest, logical conversation without well, this is the way it is, it's my way or the highway. Well, fuck you and your highway. You can take your highway and stick it right up your ass. This is reality. I mean, if you're going to go around being accusatory of someone who, just because, they messaged your granddaughter. Well, I'm trying to get you to identify the real threat that happened here. Because, as far as I can tell, nothing bad happened. There is no threat. Nothing's going on. And instead of getting that truth out of them, instead what I get is, well, I'm not going to, have this argument. Yes, of course you're not, because you're fucking losing the argument. I mean, round and round we go. You're going to lose every single fucking time. And I don't care that, well, I don't think grown men should be messaging my... Well, let's not make this, something out to be what it isn't. Like, I'm not saying, hey, want to meet up for whatever. I'm not being like that. I would never say that to a kid. Never in my life. It's stupid. It's really stupid. I don't know. I'm just talking in circles. I think you guys get the idea, but we really need to change the mindset of where we are when it comes to online safety and, and kids, preferably kids. I don't have an issue with people reaching out to me and saying, hey, what's up? I'm not going to just willingly accept your friend request until we've had a discussion, especially if I don't know you. And that's me taking precautionary measures. But that doesn't in any way mean that I'm accusing you of being suspicious or, you know, being up to no good. That's just me being careful. But I'm also an adult too. And I have the rationale and the tools and the logic and critical thinking to apply to such situations. That's why if you're going to have kids on the internet, you have to supervise their accounts. Because one day you're going to be approached by an actual creep on the internet. You know? And you're going to run into that. But at the same time, why are underage kids on the internet to begin with? Why are they there? They have no reason to be there. None. I don't get it. I just don't get it. And I know these people who are listening to this right now, the people with kids, well, you got to have kids to understand. No, I don't. That's such bullshit. That's such bullshit because even parents don't have logic and critical thinking. The only logic they have is, well, they're my kids and what I say goes. That's the only logic they know. That's it. They don't know any other kind of logic. They don't think outside of that box that they live in because they have kids and they never do wrong and they're so perfect and everybody's out to get their kids. I mean, just give me a fucking break. Give it a rest, you know? Give it a fucking rest. People are really scared and it drives me crazy. I don't share in this collective fear. We all are supposed to be afraid of each other, and okay, so then let's lock our doors, close our fucking drapes, and just, become hermits. Let's just forget about the world. Let's not interact, let's not socialize, let's just live in a bubble for the rest of our lives. Let's be miserable. And if you understand the risks and the dangers of the internet, it's just like throwing your kids into a pond or a lake where there's sharks. We're not all sharks. Maybe you're the shark. Because when you cry foul one too many times, sooner or later people aren't going to believe you. I don't know. I get really annoyed and irritated by the fact that there are so many stupid people in the world. And I don't say that about their character. I say that about the choices they make, or well, this is how I feel about this. Although you didn't do anything wrong, but I don't appreciate this. Well, too fucking bad. Too bad. If I really and truly wanted to do something, I would have already done it. If I had that kind of notion within myself to want to hurt somebody or victimize somebody, if I really and truly wanted to do that, if I had that kind of whatever disgusting, hunger inside, I would have already done that. And I'm just trying to understand what it is about these people who they make something out of nothing. And it's their own damn fault. If you really get down to the brass tacks, it's really their own fault. If you know the dangers of the internet, which there's never a danger with me. You can ask any. I have lots of friends. I'm very popular, by the way. You can ask any of them who's ever had conversations with me and had me at their house for dinner or hanging out just, like buddies do, or catching up on lost time. You can ask any number of people, and they're going to tell you that Jared is just not that guy, or I've never had that impression from Jared at all. I don't see Jared as a person who would do something like that. A lot of people are going to tell you that. Because I'm just not that person. And I shouldn't have to come on here every fucking daily rant that I do to justify who I am as an individual. I'm getting really tired of it. I mean, this is not the first daily rant that I've recorded. I have tried to explain this in any number of ways possible since I've started doing daily rants. And clearly, there are still people who just don't understand logic and critical thinking. They don't analyze situations. They don't critically think about what's going on. They think that their first initial instinct and reaction is the correct one, when in fact it isn't. And hey, we're all human. I go by, gut instincts and first impressions. Sometimes I make decisions based on gut reactions and first impressions, but I've also been wrong a lot of the time too. Especially when it comes to people. Because you got to give people a chance. You have to give people a chance. There's just no way of getting around it. You have to give people a chance. Stop going by what other people tell you and get your own experience with that person, with that individual. So I messaged an 11-year-old. She's a childhood cancer survivor. And I told her a little about myself. And the grandmother got pissed because I whopped her over the head with logic and critical thinking. Well, tough shit. She's still friends with me on Facebook at the moment. But after this daily rant, it'll probably change. I'm just really, really super annoyed with people who can't get their heads and their asses wired together. I get really frustrated by people who just don't understand the fundamental basics of logic and critical thinking. It's really simple, especially when it comes to social media and child safety, because we hear about this all the time. The see something, say something bullshit. It's been hot and heavy since 9/11. And it's not to, make light of that delicate event in our history. But ever since that happened, people have gotten really arrogant and smug and cocky and just full of shit about a lot of different issues. And this is one of them. Because September 11th happened at a time when Facebook wasn't even a thing. We didn't have Facebook in 2001. Facebook didn't come along until 2004. And I would argue that it's gotten progressively worse. I don't know why I came back to Facebook, honestly. I guess I wanted to have just a messenger account so I can keep in touch with the people that I speak with. And then I started getting friend requests, not realizing that I had created a new Facebook account. And so I said, fuck it, I'll just leave it up. I'm just not going to bother with, But then what I had to do was go through and block a bunch of people so they couldn't see my posts. And so I'm back on Facebook. And it hasn't been incredibly terrible. It's actually been better since I've been back because I block people and I tell people to fuck off. I don't care who finds out that I actually told someone to fuck off, because if they want to start a fight and then want to cry foul and play victim when I tell them to go fuck themselves, then I don't want them in my life anyway. And of course, those people who are going to cry victim or cry foul, they're going to tell the story in a different manner to make me look like a bad person. It happens all the time. And I've been quite vocal about particular individuals in my daily rants and Sunday video updates and such. I guess it's just a suit of armor that I wear. This is the kind of shit that I have to deal with, but now I don't let people get away with running me over. I call them out. And if this situation that I speak of here comes to a point where I have to start mentioning names, then so be it. I'm going to mention names. And I'm going to publicly fucking embarrass the shit out of them. And I'm going to put it on blast to the world that this person is an idiot who wants to create problems where there are none. And they are the kinds of people who will believe everything they're told without rationally analyzing the situation and thinking about what they're being told. So I deal with this kind of shit all the time. There's lots of people I know who don't apply logic and critical thinking to anything. They just drift through life like a piece of shit floating downstream. They don't think about anything. Well, we'll just go with what everybody else is saying because it's much easier than to actually think for myself. And you want to talk about lazy? Well, that's pretty fucking lazy to me. You don't think. You just go along with what everybody else is saying. That's horseshit. I'm telling you, I have more friends now, honest friends, provided that my circle has gotten smaller, but I have more honest friends now than I ever have because I go with the people who love and accept and appreciate me for me, in spite of my myriad flaws. I'm not here to bullshit people. Now, the situation going on with this 11-year-old and the grandmother, I'm sure eventually it's either going to get worse or it's just going to blow over. Because the grandmother's probably going to call me out on some bullshit. Well, okay, what the fuck ever. I don't care. But if anything happens, if anything worse arises after this daily rant, you're going to hear it from me. And I will tell the story as it happens. I'm not going to embellish. I'm not going to make shit up. I'm not going to do anything that's going to make this other person look even more ridiculous than they already do. And I'll be honest and straightforward with everybody on Facebook. You know, when they say it in that certain way, oh, Jared messaged a kid. It's even just saying that, people freak the fuck out. They automatically, just at the snap of a finger, they assume, they go straight to that. And I understand. We hear about this all the time with, sex trafficking and soliciting children. And, we hear about this all the time. We hear about it every day. I'm no stranger to what goes on in the world. I understand and recognize the dangers of the society that we live in, that we all share together. But I can assure you, and it's going to take more than me just saying this, I can assure you that I am one of the good guys, and I demonstrate that each and every single fucking time. Now, this grandmother is either going to think about what I told her, and she's going to apologize, or we just won't speak about it at all, and we can either go our separate ways or become, remain friends on Facebook. Either way, I don't give a flying fuck anymore, because I'm not going to, I don't tolerate being disrespected, for one, and for two, I'm not going to let people insinuate that there was some bad, something horrible had happened because I messaged their granddaughter and said that I am a child of cancer survivor. I don't play games. If I'm reaching out saying I'm a survivor, there's nothing more to it than that. And the fact that the grandmother wants to see more than what's actually there is not my fucking problem. That is her problem. And it's the problem of the kid's parent or legal guardian. That's not my issue. All you parents out there listening to this right now need to understand. Okay, if you are a parent who has control over your kid's social media accounts, great. That means that any stranger, anybody, I keep bumping the mic, sorry, any stranger who messages the kids' accounts, you're going to be the first to see it. You're going to be notified of this. And then you take proper action. If they're messaging you saying, send me your Cash App, or if they say something perverted or sexual or otherwise, then you will take the proper precautions necessary to stop this from continuing on. However, you get a guy like me who says, yeah, I'm a childhood cancer survivor, and I realize that you too are also a survivor, and I understand what you went through. I understand what you're going through, and if there's anything you want to talk about, reach out. I don't have a problem with that, but make sure that, you got your parents' permission or legal guardian's permission. I always write that, and I always throw that in there. If that's what I'm saying, then there is no danger. There's no threat. Because I recognize that not all the cancer warriors and survivors who are minors are going into this by themselves. I would only hope that they have some kind of, supervision from a parent or a legal guardian. In this case, the kid's grandmother. But you don't get to then insinuate that I've done a horrible thing because I just said that, hey, I'm a childhood cancer survivor. You don't get to fucking do that. Because it makes you look like an idiot. You look like a damn tool. And if the conversation carries on to the point where we stop speaking, I block or she blocks or I delete or she deletes, then I'm going to have more to say about the situation. Period. That's it. I don't fuck around. I don't play games. But anyway, I think I made my point. I just wanted to get this out into the open. That this is still a serious issue. This is still an ongoing problem. And I'm really frustrated with this idea, this notion that people have not gotten over the fact that not everybody on the internet is evil. Not everybody is bad. You got to give people a chance. The world may have bad people in it, but they're not all bad. Most people are good if you just give them the opportunity to show that. Now, this grandmother, she may not get her head and her ass wired together. I hope in time that she does, and she recognizes and realizes how fucking wrong she is, and she realizes and can identify her own hypocrisy. I only hope that will be the case in the future. But if not, I can't help her. I can't help anybody who can't see their own hypocrisy. I think I said all I wanted to say. I'm going to wrap this up. My name is Jared Fuller, a.k.a. the Jerry Bear. I thank you so much for indulging me in this edition of the Daily Rant. It's a little lengthy, coming in at just under 45 minutes. I love you all very much. I thank you so much for listening. I will have a brand new Sunday video coming up this Sunday live here on this YouTube channel. Make sure you're tuned in. Make sure you're subscribed. Click on all on the notification bell and you'll be notified of all new content on this channel once it's uploaded. So, until such time, folks, I say toodaloo!